Okay. Welcome in. Hey, Jennifer. We'll be getting started in just a moment here. I am live streaming tonight from a hotel room, so my audio video is not what it usually is, but this will be fun. We have an atom that's slowly recovering, but in my body. Yeah, definitely in my body today. This was a little bit impromptu, as we sometimes do at the very end of the Kickstarter. We go live to answer questions, maybe do a few astrological readings for the year ahead. I'll tell you guys in a minute how you can join me for a live reading. And let me, in the meantime, open my astrology software. I'm on a laptop, so everything's just a little bit slower. Let's see here. Alrighty. Okay. Getting my astrology software program started here, so it can be just a minute. All right, let's try this now. There we go. Okay. All right. Well, tell me where you guys are coming from. We'll get started here in just a few moments, but it'd be great to first hear where you're coming from, what part of the world. Let's see. There we go. And do this. And okay. Indiana, Gettysburg, Australia, Vienna, Mexico, fantastic. Let's see here. South Philadelphia, hope you recover quickly. Thank you. San Francisco. Hello from my campsite near Dallas. What a great surprise for a fireside evening. Oh, excellent. That's really neat. Glad you're recovering. That live was like you were channeling and it was epic. I guess when you're sick, yeah. Oregon, Toronto, New Zealand, absolutely fantastic. St. Louis, Kansas City, Florida, Grand Rapids, Michigan, New Zealand. Cool. Well, I am very glad to be here this evening. Got a couple of things on the agenda for tonight. First, a lot of people have been sending me messages, DMs, with questions about the astrology of 2026. So tonight's live will serve as an opportunity for all of you guys to ask any questions you have about the astrology of the year ahead. I'm happy to kind of tune my antenna in the best I can for you. Jade says, good to see you. It's been a couple of years since I took your courses, just about to launch my own practice. Fantastic. That is great. Yeah, so any questions you guys have about astrology in general is fine. Any questions you have specifically about the astrology of 2026 is welcome. And then I'm going to be taking some birth chart readings as well. When it comes time for a birth chart reading, because I'm in a hotel room, I'm not going to risk doing live readings. Instead, I'm going to do some kind of like transits of the year ahead. So I'll actually take people's info in the live stream chat. Actually, let's warm up with one. How about that? Oh, you know what? Before I do that, of course, I have to plug the Kickstarter campaign. Let's do that really quick. All right. So, as you guys probably know, there are 42 hours left in our Kickstarter campaign. 42 hours left to go. And blessings from Vernon, BC. Yay. All right. So with just 42 hours left to go, let's see what our backer total remains at. Right now, we are at 1,675 backers. We need 2,043. So if we do the math, that comes out to 368 backers that we need by tomorrow at midnight. I think technically it lasts until New Year's Eve day morning. At sometime in the morning it will expire, but I like to try to see if we can't close it out by midnight tomorrow night, you know? So if you have already submitted and supported a pledge to the Kickstarter campaign, first of all, a big thank you. We can't do this work year by year unless the Kickstarter succeeds. That's the bottom line. It might sound kind of dramatic, but it is that dramatic. So here's the link to the Kickstarter campaign in the comment section. And we still need, you know, a total of 368 more subscribers on our channel by midnight tomorrow night to become a patron and support this channel. Honestly, today and tomorrow are usually the biggest pushes of backers and financial total that we have during the Kickstarter. The last 2 to 3 days are usually like that. Today has been, just being transparent for historical accuracy, it has been the worst second to last day that we have ever had as a Kickstarter, which means that the average number of backers coming forward in the final hours of the day, January 30th, is typically about 10 times as much as it's been today. That's not an exaggeration. That's why I'm in a hotel room on the laptop drumming up support for the Kickstarter campaign. We really need your help. We can't get to our goal, and our goal is a backer number that we know will land us within a financial range that sets our budget for the entire next year. With a staff of 12 people, with a part of this is obviously the calculation of how I earn my livelihood. It's also, it figures taxes in that we owe through the Kickstarter, right? All of it. So if you have not already pledged, but you enjoy this channel and you get something positive out of it, please consider supporting us, because this really is critical at this point. And I don't mean to sound super dramatic, but when historically the second to last day carries us across the finish line in addition to the last day, and the second to last day is projecting to be one of our worst ever, then that means we really need support. We really have to like bang the drum and be like, all right, let's go, let's do this. I feel bad because for the past week, I've been really sick, and it's been hard for me to be as present as I usually am to bang the drum and do extra live streams and all sorts of stuff like that. But that's just life, you know? So here we are, and we're going to do some readings, and we're going to answer some questions and hopefully drum up some last minute support. I think 360-ish people is totally doable. 368 backers in the next day and a half at most. I think it's doable. I mean, we have seen numbers like that come in before, but not typically without this day being a big part of it. And today has lagged really dramatically. So please, if you're out there and you like this channel and you want to see it grow and you want to see astrology affordable and accessible for people. You want free daily content year round that is spiritually inspiring, that's astrologically insightful, that helps you learn and grow as a spirit soul, and that provides something positive to your life. Community, laughter, spiritual companionship day in and day out. It takes a whole team. There's a whole team of people behind the production of this year round. So obviously I show up every day too, right? That's really important. It takes me about 3 hours every day to do this work. That's rain, snow, shine, flu, whatever. So I know that things can be tight, especially around the holidays, but every pledge counts. If it's a $5 pledge, if it's a $15 pledge, the total number adds up. And so again, a big thank you to everyone. If I seem a little urgent, it's because I am. But also, I believe that we can do this. I believe we can get across the finish line. And ultimately, I trust that Nightlight and, my work and astrology is in hands far greater than my own. And we'll trust the outcome no matter what and keep plugging away and doing our best. Things may just have to change or look a little bit different. And if that's the way it is, that's fine. What I have to think about that possibility every single year I've ever done this. So this wouldn't be an exception to having to plan for contingencies, right? But I still believe that there's a lot of people. Since last year's Kickstarter, when we got 2,042 backers, we've added 15,000 more subscribers to this channel. To me, that means that we should be able to meet our goal this year. I deeply believe that we can do that. So anyway, here's the link one last time to contribute. You'll find that link will take you over to the Kickstarter campaign. Remember, all of our classes, if you want to come study with us in our year 1 program in Hellenistic astrology, or year 2 program, our year 3 program, our horary program, any of our master classes, our guild, all of the programs that we offer, you can bundle together with class passes through the Kickstarter, and you save up to about 75% off the cost of each course when you bundle 3 or 4 together, and it's closer to 50% when you get 1 or 2. So best sales of the year for coming to study with us, and you can use those class passes absolutely anytime. They never expire. Let me take you over there really quick. I'll show you this, and then we'll get rolling with some content, because I know that's what you're all here for. All right, let me get this up. All right. It's a little tricky to share. Okay. I think you guys can see that. I'm on a laptop, so it's really finicky. Anyway, you scroll down, you're going to see on the right-hand side, it's really not letting me show much here, guys. I'm sorry. My laptop is not the world's brightest thing here. You can see on the right-hand side when you go over to the Kickstarter campaign that there's a variety of rewards to choose between. That's the main thing. So you can pick out some really cool gifts. Check all of them out. And if you have any questions about anything you're looking at with respect to our classes, you can always email us info@nightlightastrology as well. Okay. So thank you for letting me bang the Kickstarter drum at the midnight hour. We're almost there, but we really need to push hard across the finish line now. So now is the time. But what I want to do next is I want to spend some time with you guys looking at some of your charts, just a way of saying thank you for being great community, great subscribers, and answer any questions that you guys might have about the astrology of 2026. So if you do have any questions about the astrology of the year ahead, feel free to drop those into the comment section. I am so happy to try to answer any questions that you might have. But in the meantime, if you'd like a reading, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do your biggest transit of the year ahead. And in order to do that, all I need you to do is, if you're in the comment section, put your name and your date, time, and location of birth into the chat box. Don't mind if I pop your chart up in front of the group, and don't mind if I talk about what I see going on in your birth chart in the year ahead. And that's how we're going to do it. It's going to be that simple this evening, because I don't think the bandwidth here is quite good enough for me to bring people into the studio. All right, Lisa, I saw you pop up like right away. So I'm gonna, hey, and thanks for pledging to the Kickstarter campaign. We really appreciate it. Goes a long way, you guys. I really deeply value it. August 7th, 1973, 11:16 p.m. in LaGrange, IL. I see that's Cook County. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, these are like some super brief kind of like mini reading. So, and again, because I'm on the laptop, I've got a very, just my setup is so ridiculous. Okay. So here is your chart on the screen, Lisa. I have you, it's like a, make sure I've got that 11:16 p.m. LaGrange, August 7th. Yep. So I've got you as a Taurus rising. And so what I do for a year ahead reading, when I just in a mini reading setting like this, is I look at everything in the birth chart and get a feel for which planet is going to be most powerfully activated by an upcoming astrological transit. So a simple way that you can do this at home is you can plug in the outer planets by memory. So for example, I know that Pluto's at about 2 degrees of Aquarius. I can look in the chart and notice that that's pretty close to her natal Jupiter in the 10th house. I can then look for oppositions or squares or trines or what have you. Then I can go down a planet, to Neptune and take a look at the sign of Aries and see if there's anything going on there. And sure enough, the Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Aries will be squaring Lisa's natal Saturn in Cancer in the 3rd house. That's a pretty big transit for sure. Now, Pluto crawling up to Jupiter in the 10th is also really interesting, but that's a little ways off. If I come down to Uranus, Uranus is going to enter Gemini in the 2nd, and it's not too far off from opposing her moon, but that's still a ways off as well. So when it comes to the outer planetary transits, if I'm crafting a year ahead reading, the biggest transit of the year, simple, low-hanging fruit, is typically going to be the biggest of the outer planetary transits, most immediate, most exact, most dramatic, to one of the traditional 7 natal planets. I'll typically prioritize those over, say, outer to outer planetary transits. So here, Saturn and Neptune are entering your 12th house, Lisa, and they're going to make a square to Saturn in Cancer in the 3rd house. Now, first of all, what I would say is that the potential for family karma to be a pretty significant subject starting in February when the 2 planets conjoin and square Saturn. February, you could say late January coming up here when Neptune enters Aries, all the way through March, give it a little bit of a broader range. During that period of time, it would not, I think this is probably your biggest transit of the year. And it probably is going to be activating family karma quite significantly because, first of all, Saturn in the sign of Cancer, no matter where it's at, will often bring up some of the harder, more painful or burdensome things related to subjects that are ruled by the moon. Motherhood, parenting, in the 3rd house, perhaps even siblings or family karma, broadly speaking. So the conjunction of those 2 planets and the subsequent square to Saturn from the 12th to the 3rd, to me, could be about facing or dealing with, and maybe even being liberated from some heavier, deeper, emotionally entangled karma around home and family. Now, if you're a parent, that could be parenting. If you are a sibling, again, it could have something to do with events that are happening in the lives of siblings. The other thing that I would look at here would be whatever your most deeply entrenched emotional, mental pain points are. Saturn in Cancer in the 3rd house can bring up a lot of deep pain and trauma in our own bodies, in our own lives, in our own psyches, that has a lot of history behind it. The nice thing about Saturn Neptune in the 12th in Aries is that it offers some kind of fresh start. It might provide you with an ability to let go of some trauma and find some healing mentally and emotionally. Those are some of the things that I would look for as the biggest transit of the year is probably the Saturn-Neptune conjunction squaring your Saturn. So Lisa, with that, what I would say is it's a year for tenderness. It's a year to be really gentle with yourself and know that if some of these deep, vulnerable places are coming up, especially, late February when that Saturn-Neptune conjunction comes through, that's a big part of the curriculum for the year, you could say. So I hope that's useful, and can help you sort of see also where that biggest transit of 2026, Saturn-Neptune, is sort of lining up in your chart. It looks like it's really going to press on that Saturn in Cancer. Lisa says, "Thank you, Adam. Love this. Great. I'm good. I'm so glad I could help. And thanks again for donating to the Kickstarter. Really appreciate that." All right. Let's go to Dana. All right, Dana, I'm going to read your chart here. Give me just a moment while I enter this in. Okay, I think I've got you. Let me just double check. So, Dana, I have June 24th, 1975, 8:13 p.m. in Prague. All right, I'm going to now share your chart on the screen and tell you what I think your biggest transit of the year is. All right, and again, I apologize because my setup here in a hotel room is pretty wonky. But Dana, let's take a look here. So again, one of the things that I would point to would be that you always just want to look when you're doing a biggest transit of the year ahead for which natal planet, traditionally one of the seven rulers, which will usually be house rulers of several houses as well, which of them is getting the biggest transit of the year. So when we look at Dana's chart, we can plug Pluto into the sign of Aquarius, and we can look and just see where is it at, where is it going to be. It's not making any major aspects this year. So then we can move down to Neptune. And Saturn and Neptune in the sign of Aries are conjoining in the 4th house. And look, they're squaring a planet in Cancer, which is exactly what we saw in the last chart. Now, I will tell you, it doesn't surprise me that we're getting an emphasis on Cancerian karma from the upcoming Neptune-Saturn square, because as we're speaking, the moon is sextiling Jupiter in Cancer. So the moon has a way of telling us what's going to come up when we're doing readings as practitioners. And so not surprisingly, we have a bunch of Cancer stuff coming up right away. But for Dana, the biggest transit of the year, if you go down to Uranus, you're going to see it enters Gemini, but also not making any major transits right away. So Saturn, Neptune, and Aries will square the sun in Cancer. I give it the first half of the year, late January through, say, June, that you're really going to be noticing this for sure, with Neptune going back and forth for quite some time. But in terms of the 2026 karma, I think that first wave, February, March, April especially, will be probably the pivot point of your year. Saturn Neptune in Aries in the 4th house is speaking to a deep reset around family, home, and roots. This could tap in quite easily, though, to marriage and to any kind of marriage partnership, or anything happening in the life of a partner's family. So if you're married, this could be, your husband's family. Or if you're not married, you could be falling in love with someone, and the karma around your different family backgrounds could be quite significant in the year ahead. these are just examples that are meant to show you how the themes might work together. Anything that has to do with disillusionment and painful transitions around home or living environment, marriage, love, and family sort of woven together simultaneously would make the most sense here. There's an ability to, like, Saturn-Neptune and Aries in the fourth house is sort of like a sea change. It creates an entirely different landscape karmically and emotionally within the home, the domestic sphere, the family lineage and constellations of family karma, and their intersection with marriage or interpersonal relationships. So, that's the sweet spot for the year. I can't see any transits outside of that are quite as significant. The other thing that's important to mention is I think it's around August 12th, you're going to get a solar eclipse about 1.5 degrees off from your natal Venus. Venus being the natural significator of love, I could see there being, this really could be a year where love becomes really significant, because when you see the sun in the 7th getting a major transit and then Venus getting an eclipse, you really do think about a year of transitions around love or relationships. And if you're not in a relationship, maybe you meet someone, or maybe it's some other kind of relationship that is being highlighted. Anyway, these are a few ideas for you to work with, Dana. I hope that that's useful for you. I would say, creating a new story around love and family is kind of where I see it most. All right. Rebecca, I just saw you. I'm gonna get you right now. All righty. Rebecca. Okay, June 2nd, 1993, 1525, Stockton on Tees. That's a funny name. Funny to me anyway. But what do I know? Okay. Okie dokie. Let me just stop this. Now let me start another tab here. By the way, as we're going, if you have any questions about the astrology of 2026, feel free to drop them into the chat. And don't forget, as I'm going, the whole point of this live is to, it's February 2nd. Gotcha. Hold on. Let me change that, Rebecca. So that would have been 7. So February 7th, 1993. Does that sound right? Okay. Now remember, everyone, we need 368 backers by tomorrow at midnight, or Nightlight dies. I'm just playing. But seriously, we need to make that goal. It's super, super important. It's a leap of faith every year to do things this way, but it has worked for 12 straight years. And I really think it's going to work again this year. We just need to cross that finish line by tomorrow night. If you've already pledged, I know I'm preaching to the choir. Thank you. So I'm not directing that to anyone except for those of you who like this channel but haven't yet pledged. Please help us get there. Okay. All right, Rebecca, does this look, Rebecca, like I have the right chart? God does impossible math. I agree. I think we can do it. I really do. Okay. All right. Here we go. Yeah, come study with us. Seriously. The class passes, you will absolutely love our classes. They're I think they're some of the best classes out there. And I think there are other good classes besides ours too, but I do believe we have some of the best out there. All right, Rebecca. So, yeah, what we're looking at here is going to be, again, similar. What do we see that stands out? Let's take the outer planets, drop them in, and see what they drum up. Well, Pluto in the early degrees of Aquarius, not doing a lot. When we drop down to Neptune and Saturn are entering Aries. Now that's a big deal. That's a big deal here because those two planets are going to be scooting in to Venus in the 9th house. Venus is the 10th house ruler. So we have a planet in the 9th connected quite closely to the 10th house of career as well, the angular 10th house. Let's just, let's take a look at the Uranus and Gemini transit as well. Nothing major there, although right now Uranus is squaring your moon. And so you kind of have some competition. You have competition from Uranus squaring the moon, which that can be a really big deal in terms of transformation of body or identity or of character, psychology, health. In the first house you're no stranger to this. You've had this transit going on for a while now. But Uranus squaring that moon can definitely be a little unsettling for a couple more months. Then I think things shift for you. Anything involving family, parenting, pregnancy, mothering would all come up with Uranus square the moon this next couple of months. But then I think Saturn, Neptune, and Aries are conjoining, both engaging with Venus, and then Saturn will go over Venus, and then Neptune will gradually work its way over Venus in the next couple of years. Those are very significant transits. I think, first of all, if you have a desire to be doing something literary, like writing or teaching or going back to school, something academic, Venus in the 9th could speak to something that has both a kind of intellectual and artistic angle. So creative writing comes to mind with that placement, or some kind of publication. The other thing that comes to my mind, though, is like the goddess, women, faith, sort of like women goddesses and priestesses with Venus in the 9th. Travel abroad, falling in love with a 9th house Venus and Aries kind of person, like someone that inspires you spiritually, or someone whose mind and intellect is appealing somehow. Like love and learning go together. But also, because this is your career house ruler, I can't help but wonder if you're about to, something, Venus in the 9th house is about to catch fire in your life and maybe become integral to your career, becoming a lecturer or a speaker, teacher. It's really interesting because that Venus loves to be a pioneer. And for women in the arts or women in religion, education, spiritual environments, I find that placement tends to be very entrepreneurial. So I wouldn't be surprised if some path of greater faith, wisdom, learning, coupled with things like women in the arts and spirituality, become more and more important in the next couple of years. But also, there's probably going to be some desire to build a bridge between those topics and your professional life. So just a few brief thoughts there for you, Rebecca. I hope that's useful. Okay. Let's see how the Kickstarter's doing. Let's see how it's doing. Let's see. Oh, I know what I did. Oh, here we go. Here's the link again. You can click on it. You can also find it if you're watching the replay pinned at the top of the comments section or in the description of the video. That will work as well. Let me hold on just a second. I'm going to do another reading in just a moment here, but let me see how our numbers are doing first. I just have to switch so many boxes around. Okay, hold on. Let's almost there. There we go. Okay, now we're talking. We've gotten like 11, 12 more backers since we started this live stream. See, once I come on and I start yelling at you guys, then I'm just playing. We are now at 1,688 backers. That's 13 better than where we were at the start of this live stream just half an hour ago. Let's see if we can cross 1,700 by the end of this live stream. That would leave us with 343 left to go. We need all of that in the next day. So this is go time. This is like emergency sirens running in the nightlight world right now. Here's the classic hotel room art, right? Like you just want to hang it on your wall and gaze at it and enjoy. I don't even want to leave this room. All right. Now, if there have been any questions about the astrology of the year ahead, I am not seeing them, so let me just scroll up. I'm thinking about how the Sun, Mars, Venus conjunction coming up in Capricorn will act as a seeding point for the retrogrades later in the year. Yeah, you know, I just did a talk on Monday on the biggest Venus retrograde. Well, there's only one, but the Venus retrograde coupled with the Mercury retrograde in Scorpio in October are going to be particularly intense. People keep commenting about my hair this week. I don't know what you guys are on about. My hair is no different than it ever is. Turned into a triple backer today. Thank you for the reading. Oh, well, thank you. And those of you who have like doubled up on email addresses, you guys are sweet. That's really, really nice of you. Okay. I'm wondering how Uranus will be for me in my chart. Yeah. Let's see here. Who else do we have here? The South Node will enter Leo. This is a good one. The South Node will enter Leo in 2026. I have 5 planets there. Can you tell me if that is significant? Yes. That's the short answer, right? Yeah, it's significant because you're going to get a year and a half plus of eclipses moving through that sign, plus the node itself as a kind of power as it transits. So long story short, South Node transits tend to deliver a lot of very deep internal crystallized learning and insight. The North Node tends to bring things to manifest in the external world. So the North Node is like a job promotion or a new job. It's like new stuff that's happening, or it's a new relationship, or it tends to bring things that manifest and move us into desire body. like, ooh, I want this. There's this new opportunity or this new path, or the South Node tends to harvest things, right? So the South Node is going to be more like the insight gained from a difficult breakup, or the insight gained naturally. If it's going through your fourth house, it might be a series of eclipses that are going to be about harvesting insights around home family karma. But it's about crystallized internal lessons and often the shedding of old karma with the South Node. So when you have 5 planets and the South Node is going through them, that's a pretty big time of crystallized insight and letting go of things. That's the simple way of putting it. Let's see here. What do you think of Pisces finally emptying out after 20 plus years of having something in it? Well, we'll have less to cry about. Just kidding. I mean, yeah, it'll be really interesting to start feeling what it's like to have an outer planet in a new sign. And of course, the past couple of years with Saturn and Neptune co-present, we're going to get that continuation in Aries for a little while. So it might be hard to tell the difference from Neptune and Pisces to Aries, at least initially, because of the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. That can make it a little harder to feel what Neptune and Aries is like on its own. But I think by the end of 2026, we're going to be getting a feel for the difference between the two as they separate out more. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what that's like. We're moving from many years of water conversations about trauma, collective emotionally charged kinds of topics, shifting into fire. Fire is it's a totally different personality, and Aries is very pioneering, but also can be very impulsive. It's just a completely different kind of space that we're going into. I think, for those of us who like astrology, there's at least the ability that we can have to be interested in what's happening to for the sake of learning, in addition to, actually experiencing it in our own lives or in the collective. So for me, that's always kind of a silver lining, because it's like, oh, this will be interesting. Can I ask a cheeky horary question? Will love come for me in 2026? Katrina, yes, you can. That sounds great. Let's do it. All right, Katrina, you asked, and so I shall do my best. I have 6:53 p.m. Whoops, we'll call this Will I Find Love in 2026? Okay. Give me just a second, getting myself set up here. Now we're going to assume the horary gods are okay with me playing a little bit, since it's a little off the cuff, and I like to be more formal when I'm talking to the oracle usually, but I think that in the name of learning, it can be fun to do these kinds of things. In fact, we're going to be doing this kind of stuff in the guild program, which is great for intermediate students at Nightlight who are taking horary and natal work at the same time. All right, let's take a look. Will I find love in 2026? Now, we're in Florida visiting one of my wife's longtime friends this week for New Year's, taking the kids to a couple theme parks. Should be fun. Her oldest best friend lives here, so I'm just looking at the chart here. Okay. All right, so in a question like this, you're typically going to give the ruler of the ascendant to the querent. So Katrina gets the moon because Cancer's rising. Now, Saturn, the 7th house ruler, will belong to a prospective partner. What we want to see ideally is an uninterrupted aspect between the ascendant ruler and the descendant ruler, showing a connection being made between her and someone that she meets, like a significant other. It's pretty magical when it happens just like this, especially in a live stream. But what you can see here is that, first of all, the moon is heading directly into a sextile with Saturn, unprohibited, which means it doesn't hit any other planet first, which would typically prohibit the connection and then give us a no. But in this case, because the moon is going right into a sextile with Saturn, just a little over 4 degrees apart and unprohibited, the answer would be yes. So, while I would typically like to take more time, right, since we're in a live and I am only here for so long, I'll just give you a brief, looks good to me, Katrina. I would take that. I'm sure if I looked at it more, I wouldn't probably see anything that would change my mind, but I typically would be a little bit more thorough, right? But you're looking at an unprohibited aspect between the 1st and 7th rulers, and that is one of the most textbook signs of meeting someone in the parameters of the question. So within a year, yeah, a pretty good chance that you date. That doesn't necessarily mean marriage. In my experience, seeing a connection like that might mean, yeah, you're going to meet someone, but saying how long it lasts or how serious it is might be out of the scope of the question for now. But yes, love looks like it may be coming your way. Now, Katrina, let's do something fun. Let's do something extra fun. If you're in the chat box right now, Katrina, could you tell me your birth data? If you're still here. Let's see if I can get, perfect. Okay, thank you. Now, what I like to do just for fun is let's see if we can spot a transit in the year ahead that looks like it could provide my wife and kids, by the way, are out on a playground. So I'm not going to take too much longer because I don't want to make them stay out on a play, although I'm sure they're having a lot of fun. But they're letting me do this because they know that the Kickstarter is on life support. It needs some serious help. Okay. Let's go to Glasgow, Scotland, 2:50 p.m., March 25th, 1978. And here we go. Okay, so what I want to do when I'm looking at something like this is just purely identify whether or not there looks like anything in the chart corroborates, yeah, love looks like there's a potential relationship that's on its way. So the major players would be the 7th house, transits in the 7th house, eclipses in the 7th house, transits to Venus, transits to the ruler of the 7th house. Now, there's nothing super major going on with Saturn, the ruler. Pluto's too far from opposing it. Neptune, Saturn are too far from making any significant aspect to it. Uranus and Gemini is not going to touch it. So there's no aspects to Saturn. Okay, so I just eliminate things, right? Let's go to Venus. Venus is in Aries in the 9th house. Got a couple of Venus 9th house ladies with us tonight. I love that. But Venus doesn't have anything. I mean, when Venus gets into Leo, there'll be a trine much later. But a trine from Jupiter in Leo in the 1st to Venus in the 9th, not the strongest. But you know what is strong? How about a solar eclipse coming into your 7th house this winter? How about a full moon lunar eclipse with Jupiter opposite Pluto across your 1st and 7th toward the full moon eclipse, or full moon, excuse me, with Jupiter opposite Pluto in your 7th house late July? How about the nodes of the moon shifting signs and north node eclipses starting to fall in your 7th house? Pluto starting to sextile your sun from the 7th house, right? So it's the eclipses. When we look at that horary and the horary says, yes, looks like love is coming, and then we can corroborate it with the natal chart. And all we want is one really legitimate, strong looking relationship transit that can give us a sense of the, like a different source kind of corroborating the horary. And it really is the eclipses, the north node eclipses. So I can't bring up the transit chart right now because it's too hard to do on my laptop, but and show it on the screen. But eclipses this winter, will start to land in Aquarius, and it's a solar eclipse, if I remember correctly. If someone can remember the date of the upcoming Aquarius solar eclipse off the top of my head, I think I have it actually. Maybe I have it. Yes. February 17th, solar eclipse in Aquarius. There it is. February 17th, solar eclipse in Aquarius. So that solar eclipse in Aquarius is kind of like opening a new chapter for you around love and relationships. That's the point. And now you can see how it nicely dovetails with the horary, right? That's super cool, man. I love that. Okay. The beginner course on Kickstarter, does it teach you a kind of beginner's way of reading charts or more concepts? If you're talking, there's a course called the beginner's course that's listed as one of the rewards. I'm pretty sure you're talking about. That is for people that know nothing about astrology, and it's meant to give you very introductory concepts like there are 12 signs. Every sign has 30 degrees. It's teaching you what an aspect is, or what a ruler is, or, and it's giving you a list of sign rulerships. So there is really, that is for people who have zero background. Like, it's ideal if you have a family member who you always talk to about astrology and they don't know anything about it. That would be a good starting point for them. But if you're wanting to learn how to read charts, you want our year 1 class. And then most people end up taking at least year 2, if not more, of our programs because they're awesome. But the year 1 class would be the way to go. You can pick up that year 1 class for like $500 off the normal cost through the Kickstarter. That's what's so fantastic about the Kickstarter. If you end up taking our year 1 and 2 course, you get a 2-class pass. Use them whenever you want. They don't expire. That takes it down to like $650 off the course. Get 3 or 4, then you're going down to like 70% off each course. And we have, every year we have a new masterclass and a new guild. And then we have 4 years worth of professional curriculum beyond that. So there's a ton of ways to use those class passes. They really are our best deal. And the Kickstarter really acts as a sale for our programs. So anyway, check those out. Here's the link to the Kickstarter campaign. Hey, let's see how we're doing. I want to head over there and I want to stalk you guys and see if we're pulling this thing together. Okay. See, now we're talking. Now we're at 1,707, and our numbers are climbing. Like, I'll be honest with you guys. Right now, this is just complete transparency. Not that any of you are responsible to make up this number on your own, right? But we are. We perform today. We usually get about 300 to 400 backers on the 30th. We've had about 120, so significantly worse than our usual performance. We're $17,000 off pace for where we usually end up on this day. So 200 backers and $17,000 that's a lot to make up, right? So that's why I'm here. Not that we necessarily have, there's not a hard number we have to land at. And I don't like making it about the money. I like making it about the number, because I know if we hit that backer number, that the total amassed number of pledges is going to put us in a range that works. So honestly, even if we are $17,000 behind, that doesn't necessarily mean that we'll end up in a range that's not still okay. But the backer total does matter, and we are behind. Asking the Kickstarter in the final day to do 360 some backers is a lot, even for our standards, and we're used to seeing big final days. But that's why we need a significant push. I'm not making that up. I'm not just doing it to be like dramatic here. It's a big deal, and we need a lot of help. So anyway, I thank you everybody who came out tonight and just sat to learn some astrology and see some charts. I'm going to do one more chart, and then my wife and kids are going to be back. So I want to make room for them and not, not keep them out of their comfy hotel room. All right, Brianna. I've got, if I can get my, I lost it. Oh, there you are. Oh, you know what? You didn't tell me your AM or PM there, my friend. Okay, I'm going to go to Katrina. Sorry, I have to do these kind of quick. Okay, I have only a couple minutes and then I got to go. All right, Katrina, Vail, Colorado, 5:50 p.m., September 26, 1989. Let's talk about it. All right. So, Katrina, we're taking a look here, and yeah, definitely. It's Uranus square to your moon. Don't even have to look twice at that one. You're going to have Uranus move into Gemini in the next couple of months here. And, or wait, my God, why can't I remember when Uranus goes back into Gemini? Everything is really soupy in my head right now, guys. Can someone in the chat remind me when Uranus dips back into Gemini? I just don't have the ability to flip through my ephemeris quickly like I usually do. I think it's going to be, let's see, I want to say April. Does that sound right? End of April. Okay, perfect. I knew it was April. I was like, end of April. So if it's end of April, we're looking at May as like a sweet spot for you. Let's just call it April through June. That's when Uranus is going to enter your fourth house and square your moon in the seventh. Okay, so any karma around motherhood, pregnancy, children, marriage, home buying, moving, big opportunity for those things to become active and very kind of destabilizing, but maybe very exciting at the same time. Like when you get married or when you get pregnant or when you have a kid, that can be very exciting, also very Uranian in the sense that it's kind of destabilizing. It's not your usual pattern. In fact, your whole life is screwed. No, I'm just kidding. Uranus goes into your fourth place of home and family, squares the moon. Mom karma can come up. Spousal karma, marital karma, or family karma in your spouse's life. Moving, living environment, things like pregnancy and family planning, women's health, reproductive issues, all that kind of stuff. Uranus wants to change patterns that are fundamental to that Virgo moon too. So if you tend to be a worrier, it'll try to liberate like nervous energy or nervous, impulsive, sort of critical controlling things. Uranus will try to loosen some of that up, but sometimes the way that it loosens that up in us, if we're holding too tight, is to be a little like, feel a little ungrounding at first, but you might, by the time it's done, feel like you're just a much more relaxed person. But Uranus square the moon in the 7th can also be about kind of unexpected dynamics around marriage, home, and family. And anything involving mom karma too, like your relationship with your mom or your grandmother, that kind of stuff. And moon's your 5th house ruler, house of pregnancy. Would not be surprised to see this kind of thing happening if you were, to be expecting or something like that. It'd be pretty exciting. Anyway, it's moon karma, moon and 7th house karma. So relationships, home, family, that's what we're looking at there. All right, guys, I can't keep my kids playing on a playground outside of a hotel room. You motherfuckers, help Nightlight. I'm just playing. I love you guys so much. And I'm so deeply thankful for everything that you guys have done to help Nightlight thus far. We have right now, as the time that I'm finishing this live stream, we're at 1,716 backers. Let's just do a little quick math. 2,043 minus 1,716. That's 327 backers we need in what my map on the Kickstarter is telling me is about 40 hours left. So I think we can get there. I really do. And I just want everyone to know that I'm saying thank you on behalf of a lot of people. There are 12 people at Nightlight our staff budget comes out of the Kickstarter in large part, right? So there's people, this is a channel that hosts new faces in astrology, that gives people opportunities to speak in front of massive groups of people through our speaker series. You guys pay those speaker series and make them free to the public. Our meditation free Sundays, right? So many of the things that we do throughout the year, including need-based tuition scholarships. There's some people who come to our programs who are on disability and can pay like $10 a month to take professional grade programs. That happens because people believe in this channel and what we're doing as a community. So I get up here and I don't want it to sound like it's just about me. Of course it is. It's part of how I earn my livelihood. I have a major stake in that, obviously, but it is like Nightlight is a big community space. And if you get something good out of it, please consider supporting it because it also supports a lot of other people. So we really thank you again so much. And I'm going to turn in for the night. We'll see how the numbers are doing in the morning. If I have to come back on and bang the drum in the morning, I will. There's horoscopes on Saturn-Neptune tomorrow that I hope you'll really enjoy. And then a special kind of New Year's Eve guided prayer meditation that I've written for you guys, as well as a thank you that I'm just putting out there tomorrow night. So let's see if we can't get there. Thank you guys from my heart. I hope you all have a good one. We'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.